In a future world, one man's desire for vengeance brought him back to a time and place where events changed him in irreversible ways. But before that, there were beginnings of endings that altered the landscape of civilization as we had known it. This is the story of a changing world and how some lives changed with it. A story about survival from those trapped within the Doomsday Kingdom, where there's a bigger story to tell.
All right. We are live. Welcome, everybody. And welcome, James. Or is it Jim? What do I call you? I didn't ask you before.
Anything your heart desires.
Or do I call you Love Pigeon?
The Love Pigeon is in the house. Caca. There's a long story behind that name, and I'm not going to get into it here. But it's basically been my Twitter name since I created Twitter. So that's part of it. But the story of how the name came about involves some burlesque dances and stuff. So we'll keep it PG rated for this stream.
Yeah, well, okay, let's do it. Anyone here in my chat who's used to me streaming at a very different time might be surprised. They're like, what the hell is going on? Obviously, we've got a representative of CG UK in the house.
Hell yeah.
And my normal stream time is punishing on you guys. So I thought, let's leave it to the weekend. It's 11 o'clock at night here in Australia. So, it works for me. And what time is it there for you guys again? It's midday. Yeah?
It is 2 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go. So it works for him. And it looks like it works for the chat too. We've got David Feed here. He says, first, early, straight, and eager. Well, good to know, David. Lama Giganti says, oh my God, what have you done with Camel Moon? I don't know. I'm going to be talking with Camel Moon later after this show. I've got up another stream set up for that after this show. And we're just going to have him back on and have a little bit of a party. Apparently, I'm playing with Internet Fire, says Devilfish. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe you can elaborate on that. Here I am. Here's DKFC Gaming. He says I'm rounding up
fan community creators.
There you go. Well, he says rounding up the DK army. Good. Bring him over. Let's get him in the chat.
It's super early for everyone in America though as well too.
Yeah, but there's people all over the world, so why not?
Worldwide, baby.
That's right. Lama Giganti says promoting clownophobia. Not a good look, my dude. Be better. Do better. That clown was really scary. I'd watched the start of your trailer, but I hadn't watched the end of it. I usually stream, and my wife watches as well. I'm glad she's in bed because she hates clowns. Oh my God!
So
and she would hate that clown. That she would nope out. She would have turned off the stream already.
It creeps me out when some of the panels I've been drawing have creeped me out because I have a thing about clowns, but mix it in with like a zombie apocalypse and psycho people, it just makes it even worse. And some of the scenes that I've drawn.
So you're facing your fears.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll cry while I'm drawing it because I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? And then I'll go to sleep. And then when the guy who actually did the laugh is DKFC Gaming, he just loves the clown stuff. So
that was a good laugh.
And then
good laugh, man.
Also, the voiceover is another member of our Make a Path Presents family as well. So we're all keeping it together, getting the fans involved where you can.
David says, any comic with riot police and a biting human torso shield is a must in my book. Yeah, I might have to get into that a bit later.
Yeah, I can't wait I'm going to have to channel my inner Ronny because obviously he's not here right now unless he gets up, which he keeps coming on and off on Facebook.
I know what it's like when you've just woken up.
Being the writer, he obviously knows the inner workings of everything, and I have to interpret it as the artist. So I'll try and restrain myself to not go too heavy into what could potentially be spoilers. But I'll try my best to channel my inner Ronny and get to his like inspiration for this whole book as well.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We won't spoil anything. Johnny Rando says, "How the mother chat." Your buddy says your mic might be a little low. It sounds good to me.
I turned it
but,
up since then, but I don't. Like,
okay, good.
These microphones you have to proper get right on them.
Oh, thanks, Devilfish. I'm putting back into the community apparently. Oh, 2 streams back to back. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I've never done that before. I just thought I usually do an hour stream for people. People like to watch them later, and I didn't want to just do a really long stream and maybe people don't see what comes next, or they don't because they don't keep watching, or they don't. Other people, they don't want to watch a long stream later. The hour-long stream works well for them, so I thought let's just keep this one is about the books we're going to be talking about here. So that's why I decided to do that. Keaton Smith says, good time for people in the UK. Well, that's kind of the point of all this. Yeah. And Kev Putt's here as well, too. He says, Hal Chat, Hal LP.
I'm surprised I even got up because I ended up staying up till like 5 a.m, doing some other stuff for another book.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I remember, I've been on a couple of CJ UK streams, and we were actually just talking with my buddies in the DMs before about how fun you guys are. You guys know how to have a good time on a stream.
Our stream last night went crazy.
Yeah, we need to like connect more often, but it's just the time, like getting everyone with the time zones. It's tricky.
You were a champ being able to make the Captain F-Head show as well, because that was like what 7 a.m. or something for you, like something crazy.
I think I got up at 4 a.m. for one of them.
Yeah,
also, wrenched myself out of bed. But
before shilling myself and talking about DK, obviously I just randomly appeared in one of your, I think it was like the launch day or something like that for Lucent.
Yep.
And honest to God, like that book has been the one that I'm most excited for. Like I say, it's very hard because everybody tweets out stuff. And sometimes it can get a bit repetitive because obviously we all want to create our own stuff and just get involved in making stuff. But on the other side, like you have to be online to get any kind of thing. So obviously not everyone's projects can get promoted. Yours just happened to come up at the top of my feed, and I was just like blown away by that cover with the woman in the hand. I was just like, who the hell is this guy? And I'm just like getting jealous because every artist strives to get better and better. And I have progressed since doing issue 1 to issue 5 where we're at now, which completes this whole volume. And even when I think I'm doing like good, I see stuff like yours and then everyone else's books. I'm just like, I have got a long way to go yet.
Well, thank you very much, first of all. And I'm in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
It's the same for me. I mean, I think it's the same for everyone, isn't it? Maybe
it's a struggle.
Maybe not Rob Willis or Charlie Snogans or Artie Bear. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
But for at least us mere mortals, I look at those guys and I'm just and I feel the same way. I've actually worked on my second book as well. And the art is way better than in this first book. But you can't just keep going back and fixing things up all the time in perpetuity. So you just got to kind of move on.
It's because every single pen mark that you've put down. Once people see the finished product, they won't see like any kind of mistakes or stuff that you don't want people to look at, even though it's there. Like I always say this whenever I'm inking traditionally. If I don't get like a fine tapered point on the render line, that will piss me off for the entire page, and then I'll hate drawing the whole thing until it's done. And I'm like, oh, thank God that's out. Let's get a next page done stuff. But that'll always be in the back of my head, even though the page can be great overall.
That little,
I get like one little
spot down there,
I'm just like, and that just sticks in my head.
And that's why we just go back to Rob Willis, because I don't think he's ever done that ever. Every single one of his lines seems to be perfectly, almost like a machine, spaced apart and perfectly pointed. And Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, we're here to talk about you and Doomsday Kingdom, and hopefully Ronny can come. But we can
Yeah,
hold the
I've
fort
tried
without
ringing
him.
him.
It's fine. It's fine. He's where's Ronny? He's in
He's
he's
in
in the
North
US.
Carolina. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
like to America.
Yeah. So what happened with your campaign? It was supposed to go.
Yeah, so because most of the book is done, because it's a collection of the first 5 issues, and issue 5 is the last like 30 pages or so, included with like any bonus pages that we throw in there. Um, because we wanted to get this book out a lot faster than like the average campaign, just because most of the work was already done. We just planned to extend it for another 30 days and fulfill the first 30 days worth of people.
Yep.
But the way that Indiegogo sets up the whole extension thing is, I could have sworn it just meant you want 30 days added, and it didn't work when I clicked save.
I did the exact same thing,
and it ended up extending it. I put 31 thinking that there was a browser issue, and then I realized that just added 1 day because we didn't plan to do in demand either. Because again, everything's wrapped up. We want to get the book out to backers, and then crack on with the next stuff. So we're going to we're in demand now, obviously, I have no choice. Indiegogo got back to us after we started in demand, and they were like, oh, you don't need to extend because we can see you're already in demand. And they put like arrows pointing to like the in demand logo. We were like, no shit.
Yeah, we know that.
We emailed like 2 days before it ended, like, oh man. So basically we've done this little countdown if you scroll down a little bit, just so that people know that it will,
yeah, I saw that.
It has like there's a timer on it. We don't want to be in demand indefinitely because we want to get the books to
30 day, yeah. Well, you do miss out on the algorithm. That's unfortunate. I did the same thing. I was having a party stream. There was 40 minutes left. My wife was in here going, extend it. Yeah. And Ethan was actually in the chat, and then he was streaming and he was talking about the book on his show. So it was just all happening. I was blind drunk, and I clicked that exact thing that you said. 30 days. I thought, 30 days, another 30 days, because I didn't think to scroll down. And
it's like active the whole time in it, so
exactly. So I just clicked that and nothing happened. So I start freaking out. But luckily I went straight back in and I saw, okay, you got to scroll down, and it's 60 days. They count the total thing. It's not very intuitive. Get a better user experience person on that. And yes, thankfully, I did manage to get it done. But in demand it's still there. It's still available.
Yeah. It's not like it changes the way people can back it. So
that's right. El Argo's here too. He says, "Hail everyone." I saw Gelt said, "I feel sorry for Michael streaming at 11 p.m." Well, we do what we do, don't we? And I get to meet the love pigeon in the flesh. I've seen him in the chat. Now I get to meet him in the flesh.
Fly over where needed. And I'm glad that we got you on CG UK as well. Like that, as soon as I had backed the book, I was messaging FED, and then it was like, "Oh, there's like a 2-week period in advance." I was like, "Well, make sure you get him on," and then you finally did.
Yeah, I mean, every stream is a little bit different, but all those CG UK streams that I've been on, just a lot of fun. Just super chill and relaxed, and just good times.
Especially if you can understand their accents.
It can be a struggle, but I have probably the same thing happening with me. Gelt wants to know how long till my book goes to print. I still don't have an exact date on that. I'm working away at it, fixing the colors. I'm just saying it's going to happen within months. Let's say 3 to 4 months is sort of what I'm banking on. I still work full time, so I don't have days, and days at my disposal to just devote to getting all this stuff finished. I do it all, before work and after work and on the weekends. We're talking months. Definitely not the full year that I gave myself to fulfill in. David agrees with me.
A little bit, like overestimate.
That's exactly what I thought. Especially when I launched, it was virus central and no one had any idea what was going on. David says, yes, Captain Effort is pretty cool. Yeah, he is very cool. Also, Michael, reach out to Jason Krager, his book Hammer. I know Red Valkyrie has his contact details. All right, cool. All right, I will do. Will do. So, what's your background in all this? Is this your first comic, or have you done comics before? Where are you from?
So my experience from drawing basically comes from being self-taught and working for a fashion company. So I draw like graphic illustrations and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And ever since the comic came out, they actually wanted me to start doing more darker, grittier stuff because it's mainly for a female fashion brand. A lot of it's like cutesy, chibi style graphics and all this. But I showed my friend, who's also like the director of the company, the very first issue, and he's got like a signed copy as well, waiting for it to be one day like super valuable. And it was like, wow, like we need some like darker things. And now, like this is off a tangent, but basically, the Dungeons and Dragons style of artwork's becoming a lot more popular with fashion companies and stuff. So I get to do like some painted stuff now as well. But I begun basically as a stupid kid who had no brains. So I would spend most of my time in classes just drawing in those little diary planners that you get given. I don't know if you had them in your school, but
yeah, we did.
I would just draw like Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons, and
I've still got mine too, and they're full. Yeah, they're full of just
way.
stupid sketches and
I think I burnt all mine.
girls writing messages in my diary.
So I would do like Sonic stuff, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he's really good at drawing and stuff." I never took art in school when I had the opportunity to like pick like the next level of like learning or whatever the method is, where you get to like choose like 2 main subjects or whatever. I just did English for some reason. And then I also, as a kid as well, would like do South Park cartoons with my sister. We'd make up our own stories because we weren't allowed to watch it. So I had no idea what the show was about except what the characters looked like. And that's like where I think the basis of my comics came from. But then I trained to be a chef. So that was what I did officially once I left school. And never put pen to paper for like 10 years or so. I got this job and then eventually led into doing some drawing. So then I was like, maybe I should try.
So you went from chef to drawing in a fashion thing.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all interconnected. Because I was learning photography while the restaurant was sinking down by losing like millions of pounds or whatever.
You couldn't get Gordon Ramsay in there.
No, like we had like some of the best chefs. We cooked like our name shame. We did like dinner parties for the football team Manchester United because some of those were part investors in the restaurant. So we did like dinner parties for Victoria Beckham. We had Lionel Richie's daughter come for 2 days in a row, like for like dinners and stuff. And that was cool. So it started making it super pretentious. So I was like, I need another type of job because I had trained as a chef for like 3 years or so. I basically hit the peak because this was like a fine dining Japanese restaurant and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to get a camera and I'm going to like do a little documentary because I was getting into a load of food shows, like Netflix quality like documentaries and stuff. So I wanted to like learn like filming and photography. But by the time I got the camera, which was quite a ridiculously expensive camera because I was just getting paid too much as a young chef because of the finances that was in the actual place. The chefs that I wanted to like document, which were some of the best in UK and around the world, they'd all left. So I was getting promoted and I never used this camera. So then I found out that the place was going into liquidation pretty much only after like a year and a half. And luckily one of the chef's housemates was a photographer for the newspapers covering concerts and stuff like that, like rock bands and like anyone that you wanted to photograph, they would send him out to do like a little review thing. So he gave me his contacts and that led into me eventually coming to this fashion company full time. And then that expanded into being able to draw. They were like, oh, we want to start doing designs for like our wholesale things or whatever. And then after a while, I was like, I want to do something a bit more involved for myself because I have spare time in the evenings. I don't have anything else to do. So I started to learn how to draw like sequential stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me into like this. And it's not like I wasn't that experienced in drawing. I was literally doing like a 4-page spaceman, astronaut, sci-fi type story. And that was it. That was like my only experience. And then being
Is that something you
massive,
published yourself, or you just did it for
was,
yourself?
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be printed in an anthology, but I just didn't know coloring at the time, so he couldn't find a colorist either. And then eventually he just gave up on it. So, but I mean, my part was only like a 4-page thing, and this was like this guy trying to get into it. I like it. I've got the pictures on my Instagram somewhere, but then like 2 years later, I wasn't drawing again. This was like 2013 ish. So then I basically became obsessed with watching YouTube, learning like to draw, because that's one of the great things about the internet is that you can learn to do anything pretty much these days.
Yep.
And I came across this guy called Ronny Haze, who has the YouTube channel Make a Path Presents. And he had mentioned that he was writing on this zombie book that was going to be a novel. He'd been writing it for like 10 years before we even got to this point of it even being a comic, because he had initially planned to make it into like 5 films. So he'd studied screenwriting for 2 years and was like, this probably won't work as a film, so maybe I should do it as a novel. But then he lost interest in doing that just because, you know, it's more investment, and he was trying to decide where he wants to take the story overall. So he'd mentioned it on his YouTube channel, and this was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago now. Basically just going on about his ideas for it, and him being like a massive zombie nerd, which is what the channel's mainly focused around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's seen it all, so he knows what hasn't been done, or where he can take things that have been done and make them 10 times better. So then he had the idea of making it into a comic, and I just wanted to. And so this is basically me being a fan of someone's YouTube channel, and I just wrote a comment saying, "Oh, could I do like a little piece of artwork?" Because the Facebook page at the time had no images; it just had this chapter 1 excerpt from when it was a novel.
Yeah.
So he said, "Yeah, sure." And even then, like, I mean, I cringe at the artwork that I've done in issue 1, but that is even cringier to me, like, because it's just so like badly done. But he loved it, and I was like, okay, he's got low standards. So I was like, let's see what we can do. And he had a.
Well, I can tell you, man, the first time anyone else draws a character of yours is a pretty special thing to witness. So
we've actually had,
I can understand.
In issue 1, we had we've got a fan art page section in there, so we've had people actually do it. So we compiled them from what they'd sent on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So that's really cool seeing people get excited about the characters, and that's when we knew that we kind of had something, because the channel that Ronny had was mainly focused on The Walking Dead, and that was the thing that stopped him wanting to make this comic, was the fact that he had plans to make this like a zombie story where it would make you cry, like you'd get emotional, you get invested. But then The Walking Dead came out, and it pretty much did the same thing.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, is there really any point? So that's when he started like posting a few more like chapter excerpts from when it was a novel. But people seemed to dig the ideas, and I did especially. That's why I got in touch. I was just like, yo, like, this is a shot in the dark. Can I be involved somehow? And he was like, you know what, on YouTube, like saying, why don't I just make it a comic? Like, yes, The Walking Dead's like super popular, but he has his own ideas. And we had a load of detractors at the time when we were announcing that I was now officially the artist, after he had fallen out with the other one, because the other one just wanted money in advance, which was not feasible at the time, because you're trying to get a project off the ground. You want to have something done first before you expect any return. And I wasn't doing it for the money either. It was just literally, I just wanted to put me in like a pressure situation where it was like, you have to focus and do a comic, instead of me just doing like little bits here and there and little pin-ups or little character things. If you want to do a comic, do a fucking comic. Like, that's the only way you're gonna get better at it. So so issue 1 is like the culmination of that. which is the earlier pages with the Rider, which is one of the main characters set in the future of the timeline of Doomsday Kingdom. And then since then, it's just evolved. And then people that were saying, "Oh, you're just copying The Walking Dead," read the book and they were like, "I'll take it back. Like, this is actually something different." And it's obviously different if you look at it and compare it to The Walking Dead even. And again, being fans of The Walking Dead, we know what's been done, what we're not going to copy. We've even had instances where we've talked about stuff that was upcoming and it ended up being in The Walking Dead. And that's no brag. That's like happened. There was like the whole thing, if you've read The Walking Dead with the Whisperers, they had this whole thing where they marked their territory with pikes and they'd have the heads of their enemies like making the perimeter. That was in our book and we'd mentioned it like 3 months before it even appeared in the comic. And we know like some people in Skybound had been looking because he would review The Walking Dead all the time. So it became this like interesting thing. And there was even like a panel from issue 1 where there's a trap set up, which you'll find when you read the book, of this like rope was tied around the door, and then for some reason Walker did these production promo stills, and one of them was pretty much a replica of what we'd drawn, and I was just like, holy shit. We've posted like comparisons on Instagram as well, so there if people want to search them out. But what I love about this whole project is that it's got so much room to play with different things. And me and Ronny are both big fans of the TV show Lost, which played with like flashbacks and flash forwards and stuff like that. So what you're seeing on the screen now is one of the pages from the first part of the book. And because it was issue 1, we didn't want to just make a big deal about issue 1 being a big thing because it's issue 1. We wanted to do something different. Instead of just starting with like day 1 of the outbreak, let's go forward into the future, Lost style, and show what the world is kind of becoming and make people question why they're dressed the way they're dressed. And
so I mean, the reason why I stopped on this page is like what David Feed said here. Hell yeah, meat shield. So we've got a dude here carrying a zombie, I presume, on a shield.
Yeah. So,
and what's this guy in the red wearing? He's got like armor on or something.
Yeah. So this is the Rider. This is what people in this timeline know him as. As a mysterious figure. He's kind of an anti-hero, Punisher style. He's literally wearing handmade leather armor. And again, because this is in the future where people are getting more accustomed to the way our zombies in the world work, everyone in different communities in the country, because it's primarily set in America, but stuff's happening all over the world that we might see glimpses of here and there. Everyone has their own methods of blending in with zombies and stuff like that, because again, this is us trying to make things more interesting than what we'd seen on The Walking Dead with like hordes of zombies and stuff and disguising yourself trying to get in there. So people have their own ways of doing things. So this is just like a custom armor that obviously prevents getting bitten, because you will still turn if you get bit by a zombie. But there's twists in there as well, which we haven't got into yet. And another thing that makes this more unique for a zombie thing is the stages of zombies. There's your typical classic zombie, but we have we call it stages. So a stage 1 creep, which is what we would call them, or what the characters in the book call them, is basically a freshly turned person who is kind of dead on the inside, but not fully unaware of what's going on. And because also they're fresh, it means they're able to like run the stronger than, a decrepit zombie like later on in the line. So it makes things more tense and interesting. And then you have like another stage, which we call them weepers, which I won't get into spoilers on that because we start delving into that in the last half of this volume. But it's just a way of like keeping things more interesting because everyone would just assume be quiet to avoid getting the attention of zombies. But it's more than that. And also the way zombies have the instinct to want to feed on you is different as well. So that's shown in the book. But the overall thing for the rider, as you can see here, is, and the issue and the volume is called the feeding post. And so coming back to the whole punishment thing, is that he will round up, people that he's got issues with, and instead of just like shooting them or cutting their throat or whatever, he would take them to this made feeding post where he will handcuff and tie rope around the characters to keep them secure, and then he will lure zombies in the area around to them, and you'll just get eaten alive as a really fucked up punishment.
This is Blue. Did you want to come in now? I don't know. He's got an avatar now.
Hail, Blue.
No. Blue.
Hello. Yes.
I turned my volume down. Apparently, yeah, we were very different in our volumes.
No.
Yeah, but how am I doing? Am I okay?
You sound great. You sound good. Hey, Keaton Smith left a really cool message. He says he's trying to learn to draw again after he had an amputation and now have a shaky hand. Didn't think I'd draw again, but coming along. Just happy he can draw it all. That's great to hear that you're coming back.
That's crazy as well.
Yeah.
That kind of, like, I don't want to take away from him as well, but I have a similar issue where I've kind of got like an advanced arthritis in all of my joints. So when I'm drawing, it's literally painful to do it, because even holding like forks or pens, after a while my hands start to seize up, which is why most of the time I do stuff digital, just so that I can get away with the stabilization things.
Yeah.
But for this last issue of this volume, I've pretty much forced myself to do original artwork so that we could have tiers to provide to people, but also my artwork has improved and I really like drawing on paper now.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the sacrifice of time makes me sometimes question my sanity, like, why am I doing it like that? And also the pain thing as well is a crazy thing. So it's
You got a real fan here. He said he's been following you for almost 5 years. Art just improves with every piece. Love issue 1. But oh my effing god, now it's just wow.
I had like an image made up. If you want to just quickly share my screen, just to show people. I like showing people this. This is a comparison from issue 1, which is when you first see like a splash page of the rider, and then this is today. On the right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that is stark, isn't it?
Now, are these both digital or are these both?
These are traditional.
Okay. So when you do digital,
that is stark.
What do you like to use for digital? Because Keaton Smith might take a little advice.
Yeah, I use Clip Studio primarily now for drawing, just because the brush engines in that is so much nicer to draw with.
I don't draw in Photoshop anymore at all. Just Clip Studio.
I did start off in Photoshop and Illustrator with a mouse, and I was using like the way it tapers lines. I did an actual album cover for a band, just drawn with a mouse. It was like a red riding.
You drew with a mouse.
Trees. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to post it on my.
Hello, Princess Pie.
Hail, Princess.
So does Clip Studio let you use like a stylus on a device or a stylus on a touchscreen? Is that it?
Yeah, I have it now on my iPad Pro, which I've had for a couple of years now because I was engaged and I sold it, the ring, and I managed to get an iPad instead. So that was a good consolation prize.
Cool.
But I also use like the Wacom Cintiqs as well.
Did you watch Walking Dead Blue Samurai or read it?
No, neither.
Okay. We watched it up until I think about maybe the second season that Negan got into it. Maybe the second or third season. Oh, it was the one where they had that king guy. And they had a big battle or something. And I don't recall why we stopped watching it. But we just sort of fell out of it.
Yeah, I did the same as well.
But something that I did a lot while I was watching that show was daydreaming of what I would do in in the zombie apocalypse, and I'm sure you've probably done the same. And that's part of, if you're telling a zombie story, you know, that's why you can have so many ways of approaching it, is, you know, like you were saying, different ways that they protect themselves, different ways that they would trap and do all sorts of things. It always got to me, you know, no one ever wore any kind of armor. They did it maybe for one little bit, and then they took it off and you never saw it again. And it, you know, some people were getting bitten just by, you know, stupid things, like they're just sort of standing around and, you know, take their eye off their what's behind them for a second, and then you get bitten on the shoulder, and then you're dead. Just put something on that they can't bite through.
Like, one of the main the opening page of Volume 1 is this interrogation scene where it starts with the rider being captured, and one of the lines is, "Who the Guardian," which is the guy with the riot shield, he's part of a larger community, and the rider is part of someone else. And then later on in that part, you'll see the Skull Men, which everyone wears these masks for a reason, which we're going to get into in the book. But he asks him, "Who are you?" And the rider just responds with, "Me, I'm nobody." And the Guardian calls him out on it, because this is in the future where, you know, things have already happened. Like, the world's starting to adopt this new way, this medieval, fantastical type way of living. And the Guardian calls him out and just basically goes, "Well, we both know that isn't true. Everybody alive these days has become somebody," alluding to the fact that, you know, people are finding ways around this stuff, even though we don't want to get rid of the tension, even though people are more experienced with zombies. This is where the stages comes back into it, where it's like, you can have situations where, like, say you're going on a scavenger run and you see like some zombies, like the classic type of zombies, like the Romero style, and immediately you're like, oh, okay, let's keep quiet and go around here and try not to cause any attention on ourselves. But then you have like a different stage zombie that sees you and starts wailing and screaming and stuff like that, and then it all of a sudden becomes a panic, because now the zombies are actually alert, because some zombies won't attack you. Some zombies, if they're feeding, unlike what we've seen in shows like The Walking Dead or other zombie media, they always seem to have zombies where they're eating somebody and then another live person comes and it's like, oh, I'm going to leave this person and go to this fresh person for some reason. Why the hell does the zombie care about fresh meat or whatever?
I mean, I know what they were doing with The Walking Dead. It was all about how it's the people you actually have to fear, not the zombies so much. Obviously, if there's a massive horde, it's something you've got to deal with. But anyone, you know, with a small team and half a brain can kind of figure it out. Yeah. They're not very terribly scary things. They look gross, but they're not scary. In The Walking Dead, they're just these things that kind of stumble around, and
you get numb to it.
Exactly. So yeah, even, you know, that even what you just said before, you know, if a zombie sees you and starts like going at you, that would freak you out a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and like going back to it, like if I was in a zombie apocalypse, I'd be dead pretty much straight away, because I just like, fuck this. I know what's involved. I'm not doing it.
Now, before I popped in, I heard some of you talking about that as people turn and whatnot. Are we going to be able to see a character's internal thoughts and whatnot as they become? Because that is horrific. That is horror right there.
Cannot confirm or deny, but I've hinted at it visually in one of the pages. It's basically just before this page in the actual volume that was just on screen now. I've played around with the whole franticness, but it's a very subtle visual thing. Like, people have seen it when they've done reviews of those pages, but we have something similar. I can't go into detail of what might possibly happen because I'm not the writer. He has things that he's kept secret, although he will tell me sometimes, like, oh, this is what's happening. And I'm like, dude, this is happening in like 5 years time in my like real life, because this is a long-term project. We have like 100 issues mapped out basically. So with us going on Indiegogo, it's a way of expanding the audience and just trying to get work done a lot faster so we can release more single
Wow.
issues.
So
and
this
collect
is you said this is pretty much all done, yeah?
Mhm.
And it's full color the whole way through?
Yeah.
128 pages full color
Hmm.
Yes, there's 112 story pages to be
for
full transparent.
$30.
I know people
That's
sometimes get caught up
insane.
on price, but we feel it's justified for the amount of work
No,
that's
I'm saying
gone
that's
into it.
cheap as chips. I'm saying
And
that's
the shipping's cheap as
fantastic.
well.
And the shipping to the States is $10 for any tier with the books, except for the original art is 15.
Yeah, because the original page will get shipped with me, and I'm still working out like whether I send it separate via like a courier, because I want people to get the pages pretty much with the book, or I send all the pages, because most of the shipping is going from the US where the creator is, but I'm in the UK, so I have these perks with original artwork, which will obviously get shipped from me.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
That's no, seriously, that's
the
one
price
of
is
the best
still-
deals I've
Still
seen.
pretty good.
That's really good. That's that's very impressive.
And we're
And shipped in a
experienced as well
Gemini mailer.
with shipping, because like I said, we've been doing it on our own back.
And
as
you
can see.
even get a discount if you get 2 of them.
Hell yeah! So that's a good way.
Very cool.
Now it's colored. Are you the colorist as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm doing the everything except for the writing. Ronny is doing the lettering, and he's only just started doing the SFX, which is something that I wanted to play with, trying to be a whole artiste. I didn't want to just do like straight up, over the top sound effects that distract you from the page. So what I've done, I think, was unique at the time, where it was blending it. So if there was like a certain character, or like there was a sound effect that involved a zombie or bones breaking, I would color the lettering like bone and like add blood spatter, and I'd do like cracks in the font to replicate what's happening at that panel.
Yeah, I love that
Make
stuff.
it a bit more specific. And if it's something to do with the Guardian or the Rider, like it's colored using their colors in a way as well, but to blend it in with the background, because I want it to be cohesive throughout, instead of just being, here's a bright red letter over the top of something that red doesn't even match with on the page. But coloring as well, like that was something that when I jumped on Michael's launch stream, that was the thing that got me interested as well, because he was saying that everything that he's learned, was it in terms of coloring, or the whole thing was because of the Lucent?
I think when I talk about learning, the thing I talk about most when I'm talking about learning is the coloring. In terms of the drawing, I just kind of picked up because I never stopped drawing ever since I was a kid. So, I mean, like you, I'd go onto YouTube and, learn a little bit about certain methods and stuff. But I always found that so much easier to pick up and just kind of, I just look at how other people have drawn, whatever, something. And okay, I'll do something a bit similar to that, and that was fine. But the coloring that did not come to me naturally at all. That all had to be learned. Good morning, Bandito.
Good morning.
I've
Hail
never
and
seen
well
you
met.
in this light.
Well met,
Look at
Bandito.
this.
I know it's early.
So bright.
You're usually
It is
yellower
Different.
because you've got, I presume, the lights on.
Yeah, usually it's nighttime. It's 9 o'clock at night, but today it is 7:45 in the morning.
Oh
Does your
wow!
window filter UV? Because I thought you'd catch fire in sunlight.
That is a possibility. We haven't tested that theory yet. Let's just say don't open the windows, typically. So, but we're not on fire today. I'm just, maybe it's just me. Maybe I am the light, the lighthouse. There we go.
Could be. Could be. We're going through the
Books.
perks.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I actually prepared this time with showing off the perks.
Oh, excellent!
That's awesome.
Yeah, we
So, Love Pigeon, it's great to meet you. We've seen each other around quite a bit lately.
Hell yeah, we have. I'm glad to be talking with you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh God, that's a great head sketch.
And I'll admit, again, the Lucent campaign is one of the best campaigns. So I was taking hints from that, and I was like, you know what, I have to do a head sketch thing.
Yeah, but now you're showing me up. Look at that head sketch.
Well, I don't mean to.
That's a
Like
proper drawing.
I was playing with trying to learn like ink washes and stuff, because obviously I'm the artist. I primarily work in black and white, and then I will color digital. but I wanted to give something a little bit
Hey,
extra
Adam.
for Indiegogo backers as well, because it's nice to have a tangible thing. So this will come shipped in the bag for those who
That's going to be so good.
because a lot of people won't obviously know the characters. We've just kept it simple where you can get a head sketch of the rider, and they're all individual. They're all going to be unique. This isn't even included in like whoever's backed one of them. They're not going to get this one. This is just an example. They can choose the zombie or they can get the rider. I think we've only got like 8 left on the perks.
Oh, that looks fantastic. Well done on that.
With the original artwork as well, like that's where I know that I've grown as an artist in terms of the detail and stuff, and that's been inspired by rereading my EVS books, because I've got a load of books upstairs that I've never been able to like display because I've never had a house until now, and they're still there waiting to be sorted out. But stuff like that, and seeing other people's campaigns where it's like, shit, I need to step up the game. So the pages that are offered in this, in the original art tier, are the best pages that I've done.
Yeah.
And these are all.
Oh, he's got them. Yes.
I've got plenty
Hang
of
on.
pages to show.
Let's have a look
My
at some of
goodness.
these.
This looks so good.
This one's been claimed.
And how much are these? $200. Fantastic.
Love Pigeon knows how to treat a page. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah. So I have the cover was also sold privately before the campaign launched, but this is the volume 1 original artwork.
You're such a tease.
Oh my god! And then we have
Blue is drooling.
this was the cover perk that we did. This is the issue 5 cover, which is the last.
And I see that
25
sold.
pages.
Yeah.
This sold pretty much 2 seconds after we launched.
Which is, that's an amazing
insane.
piece of art, but it's definitely not something I would want to hang in my house.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad to get rid of it, so I don't have to look at it. And then we've got like one of the first pages of issue 5. So this
That
is
looks
the last half.
fantastic.
And then
so
we do a
good.
special thing on our website where we will, because we've been doing the single issues, so this is issue 4. People really like having like stuff as collector's items and things like that. So this is where we've learned everything before we've come to Indiegogo, because we knew we was going to crowdfund.
He's even wearing the hat.
Oh yeah, this is a one of a kind. We had always planned to crowdfund when it came to the volume, because you know how expensive it can be, and
absolutely.
and also just being able to reach new people. So we do these signature series editions, which come in a Mylar bag, which is more premium looking. It's like
familiar
glass.
with it.
And we do these for like $50 each, and they also come with unique book plates, which are signed by me and the writer. They're numbered and limited to 150. This will get signed by both of us. So we also basically preview whatever the issue, whatever the image is on the inside cover of each issue. That is what the limited book plate is. So this is the one for issue 5, which has also been paid for. This is a collection of scenes from the very first issue, so the first 24 pages of the volume, which is also, this has been sold as well, but this is me getting a bit more creative with.
Why are you selling us all or showing us all the stuff that's been sold?
Well, just to get you excited, because this page is available. And there's 18 pages total.
Do I hear blue typing?
So, and also we've done trading cards as well. So like I said, the signature series comes with the issues. It's double signed. Everything's sent back and forth to the US, so that covers some of the postage. It comes with a unique trading card per issue that matches with the issue itself. And so we've learned everything on our own backs, and especially with fulfilling, because we have done over 3,100 orders ourselves now. So we feel confident in Indiegogo. That's why we've done such a short turnaround as well, because literally at the end of this 30 days, or even before then, the print file's getting sent off and the books will start shipping by the end of August. So it's quite quick. Unless something goes wrong with the world, you'll get your books this year.
It is 2020, so.
It's funny you wanted to get that clown, or you're happy to see the clown get out of your house. Does your artwork give you yourself are you giving yourself nightmares?
Yeah, like I said, I was doing. So obviously, knowing some of the story elements and how obviously the pages come together, there's certain scenes where involving the clown, which I won't get into, it's kind of creepy. And I was drawing it, and like I said earlier to Mike, I was like talking to myself, saying, "Why am I drawing this?" And I've done some scenes because I wanted to up the amount of gore. Now, bear in mind, we tried to keep the whole thing as realistic and grounded as possible, but still acknowledge the fact it is a comic book. So where necessary, we will like amplify the gore, but not all the time, because we don't want that to become like a stagnant thing where it's like, oh, he's done this crazy thing now, let's see what the next crazy thing is. There's a scene with the clown. It fucking scares me. Like, it's so brutal, and it's because it's so big, and I'm drawing it. I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this like through the entire time? And I've started incorporating for the original artwork. I've been incorporating some red inks just to help accentuate the blood and stuff like that. So
nice. Can never have enough gore.
I'm very seriously impressed by what you're putting up here. This sounds really good. I actually, Adam Post is in here earlier. He was actually the first ever zombie book that I ever bought. I never bought any.
One of our first genuine promoters as well. Like,
yeah, I never bought any zombie books before, and I actually do have College of the Dead here now. I haven't read it yet.
I'm waiting for my copy to come.
I've been too sick lately to read, but I'm going to be reading them soon. So I'm a big fan of Walking Dead and a bunch of zombie movies, but this one sounds really good. And that price, 128 pages for $30.
Oh wow!
Is how can you go wrong?
It's pretty crazy. And again, like some people, our fans have read the single issues, and you can still get those, but not the physicals because they're pretty much out of stock. So the price is pretty much the same for like 5 issues, except a little bit more because of the volume aspect.
Yeah.
But I'm just so.
So in your campaign, you are on your 5th book.
So it would be the 5th single issue, and then this volume is the first 5 issues collected.
Yeah, this is the volume. This is volume
the 5th
1.
issue. The 5th issue is brand new.
It's not even released yet, so it's going to be in the volume.
That's fantastic.
How many volumes does Ronny reckon he's going to make all up?
So we are doing 5 per volume. So we're trying to get the 2 volumes out a year, give and take a month or 2.
Nice.
Workhorse.
Like I say, we have 60 issues mapped out with like outlines and plots and stuff like that. But the goal is to do 100 to hit on a nice number. But if we feel the story can extend or it can be shortened, it can be. But like I say, there's such a playground with zombie things that people kind of dismiss. They kind of will base their opinions off a zombie film where it's an hour and a half of carnage, and at the end of it, pretty much everyone's dead. And it's like, well, that was cool, but I want something else out of it. And here we go, Ronny Haze, Master of Scrolls.
Hail!
Speak of the devil.
Mapped.
James was doing such a great job. I was just gonna say, screw it. I'll let him run with it. But I wanted to jump in to say, Lucent looks fucking bomb. Wait, you cursed on your
thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's all right. Everyone's in bed. It's nearly 12 o'clock here in Australia. Hey, your book sounds great, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fantastic.
And it looks fantastic too. So good job on scoring James there.
Yeah, that was I tell you what, that was one hell of a score. Anyone out there that is one half of a team, like if you're just the writer or just the artist, it is damn tricky because you got to find that the one that matches. You got to find your soulmate, your creative, soulmate, and
Amen.
It doesn't always work. The first couple times out, it doesn't always work. But me and James have worked real well. We started at first just 2 strangers poking and prodding to feel the other out, and then a few years later, we're just
as
2
many
friends.
Evenings go. Yes.
Yeah. A few years later, we're just 2 friends making a comic and trying to do the best we can with it.
It was literally a year before we even started working on the book together, because we were just talking on and off while Ronny was deciding what the plan was for what it was going to be, like a book or a comic or whatever. But
yeah,
I've been a fan of him, and that's how I came across him. So
I knew somebody in real life that had like a really weird, unique type of drawing style. Real crazy stuff. It looked like they drew. It was great, but it looked like they were tripping on acid all the time. So I was like really intrigued. But I tell you what, they were really they were really focused on the money aspect to where it fell apart. There was no like, you know what, I'm going to pour some of my time and energy, blood, sweat, and tears into the project and then have faith in it. It was kind of like, nah, how can we set it up to where we get the most amount of money first and then get into work? And I want to throw this out there as for anyone up and coming, put in that work and then wait for the reward later, because that's what we did. We put in the work for issue 1, just me and James with our time and effort getting it all together. And then we showed it off to people and they just started buying it. And we were able to go from issue 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're doing a collected volume and looking forward to issue 6 and volume 2 and further.
Yeah, and no one's going to care that you've got this amazing idea, according to you, if you don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's in comics knows how long these things take to make and just the dedication. I always say you have to be kind of crazy to want to make a comic, because it has to be a passion. Otherwise, when you get up in the morning, you realize how much work you have to do for the next 10 years. You're probably just going to stay in bed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It suits my lifestyle, though. I don't want to do anything.
Oh, me
else
too.
anyway.
Me too. I started. Once I committed
weirdos
to
in the
making a
world.
comic. Once I committed to making a comic, I was like, I'm going to get up early and draw before work every day. And, not every single day for 5 years, but most days. And, I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I like staying up, drawing late too. It's all good. You just got to, if you love it, you got to do what you got to do. And, that is its own reward as well. Especially when opportunity strikes. Like with what's going on with Comicsgate and crowdfunding and everything, you can find yourself in the right place at the right time. Because we're going to have to close out the stream in a couple of minutes, Ronny. You're still going for another 30 days.
Yeah, we are in demand right now for.
So maybe towards the end of your 30 days, we can get you back on during one of the my normal lunch hour streams, which will be your night, I think, just before you close out. So we can talk a bit more zombies there.
Yeah,
so I have questions. I have questions and ideas.
Nice.
We were talking earlier about we're just watching The Walking Dead, saying, why did they just do this? Why did they do that? I would have done this. If this was me, I would have done that.
That's why when you first see the story, you see this guy who is pretty much bite proof, and that's the one thing within The Walking Dead. It's like when you're going on a run, I mean, why wouldn't you just?
That's what I was saying. Even if it's just get some magazines and duct tape them to your forearms, because I don't care how hard the bite is. At least on first bite, they won't get through the magazine, and you'll be able to stab them in the ear with a machete or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, it never happened. I was like, come on, guys. So this is your life,
Someone would have come up with a neck guard somehow, some way, and they would have made a dime. I mean, like that would have been the industry of the post-apocalyptic world.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that he married the chick with the southern accent, and they had a baby?
Oh,
Asian guy.
Yeah.
Glenn. Yeah, he was dressed up at one point in the kind of the guards outfit from the prison.
Yeah, the riot gear.
Keep that. Just keep it. Take it with you. Don't just wear it once and then forget about it.
And they often go on runs even after some of them got armor and stuff. They're like, we're going to war. Okay, let's armor up. But then it's like, we're taking this really dangerous run a few hours away to this area that we have no idea if it's filled with a horde or not. We're just going to go in a t-shirt. It just doesn't make any sense, Well,
maybe it was hot.
Yeah,
hot.
It was probably just hot.
This was these signature series book plates lets me play around in the world while we're waiting for like the next issue to be finalized, like script wise. So coming back to that, I was always like, well, if they're in a bar and there's a zombie attack, what would my instincts be? And you can see that the guy has ripped off the bar stool cushions and used that as armor. Like,
Is that duct tape too?
yeah, it's duct tape.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
There you go.
A bit of duct tape and whatever you've got. At least it would fend off at least the first bite, give you a bit of time to stab him in the eye or something.
Yeah.
Gave me saying, hell, they didn't even wear sleeves a lot of the time. Well, they got to show off their bodies. I mean, they got to sell things.
This is a little homage piece to the Wolverine.
Yeah, that looks sick. That's
so
awesome.
This is actual weapon that will be in the book as well, based off a real one. So it's just something cooler to do.
Oh,
all right, guys, we are going to have to end it here because I'm going to be starting another stream shortly with Camel Moon. If anyone wants to stick around for that, it'll be starting in about 15 minutes or so.
We're
going to have a little bit of a party there.
Because this crazy stream that we was doing, and I kept saying, like, I love Camel's laugh. I love people who laughs.
I think he's been making a bit of money off that laugh.
It's
very infectious. I'm going to refresh this because I think...
Well, like I said,
you got another backup, and it was me.
Thank you very much.
I think that's the first time I've ever had someone on and backed on the thing, but I was just really impressed. And who can say no? $30 for 128 pages. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
We're definitely hoping that would entice some people and say, hey, there's definitely some value here. Jump aboard and see what we got going on.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on, Ronny. I know you were late, but we'll get you back and we'll talk zombies. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I appreciate you.
That would be a great
having us on.
Yeah. Zombie. Maybe we can get Adam Post to join in too.
We could share zombie insider trading. And Love Pigeon. It was great to meet you, man. Great to chat with you. Thank you for your kind words on the Lucent too. That was really cool.
No, I'm honest. Like, I've backed it. Like, that was as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm getting this book because then I can learn from it as well.
Yeah, he wouldn't shut up for a couple days. Then, hey, you see that book, Lucent? I was like,
I better make it good.
I know how he feels. I saw it and I was just like, I'm going to be a part of your show now every single day.
The pressure. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hail and well met.
Oh, and hail the chat. This has been a great chat. I forgot to hail the
sexy
chat.
as always.
This is a really good
we've
chat.
Just sold it, Liam.
Different guys in here. So
we just saw Liam jump in here too.
Sorry, Liam. Yeah, we've got to shut up, but we're going to start up a new stream in about 15 minutes.
My tweet
with
said
Camel
catch the
Moon.
replay.
Yes, that's right. Catch the replay. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Finally, I can get rid of the sunlight.